After the death of King Robert Baratheon, the unity and peace of the Seven Kingdoms was shattered, as factions long waiting in the shadows at last emerged to claim the Iron Throne for themselves. Although the reasons for the conflict were numerous and complex, to most, the core of the issue seemed to be the illegitimacy of Robert's children, with many believing Joffrey, Myrcella, and Tommen Baratheon were not of the royal line, but rather were the bastard-born children of incest between the Queen Cersei Lannister and her brother Jaime Lannister of the Kingsguard. And so in 298 AL, the realm fractured in the War of the Five Kings. In the capital of King's Landing, despite the rumors about his parentage, Joffrey Baratheon inherited the Iron Throne, supported by his mother's family in House Lannister. Lord Eddard Stark, Hand of the King, learning that the Lannisters were attempting to usurp power through an illegitimate son, organized a coup in the name of the true heir, Robert's younger brother Stannis Baratheon. However, Lord Stark was betrayed by Peter Baelish, leading to his arrest. Although a deal was made to spare his life in exchange for confession and repentance, the young, cruel, and impulsive king ordered his execution, making all-out war inevitable. In response, Eddard's eldest son, Robb Stark, led an army south, allying with House Frey of the Twins and the Tullys of Riverrun to fight against the Westerland armies of House Lannister. Robb earned respect through his skills as a general and warrior, and so his bannermen chose to name him King in the North and the Trident. In Highgarden, Renly Baratheon, the well-loved and amiable youngest brother of Robert Baratheon, was proclaimed king with the support of House Tyrell and some of the Stormlands. While on Dragonstone, Renly's elder brother, Stannis, the man with the best legal claim to the throne, also declared himself king, though he was largely disliked because of his serious and antisocial personality, and so was supported only by a small portion of the Stormlands. Taking advantage of the chaos unfolding, Balon Greyjoy declared himself king of the Iron Islands and the North, sending his forces to invade the lands beyond the Neck, while Robb was away with his armies in the south. Dorne and the Vale of Arryn remained neutral. In addition to the Five Kings battling for control of Westeros, the Night's Watch of the Far North faced their own crisis, with rumors of White Walker sightings and a king beyond the wall named Mance Rayder gathering wildlings for an invasion of the south. Across the Narrow Sea, Daenerys Targaryen became the last known heir to King Aerys II, the Mad King who ruled the Seven Kingdoms before the fall of their house in Robert's Rebellion. Although she spent some time as Khaleesi to a powerful Dothraki Khalasar, her true rise to power began with the hatching of 3 dragon eggs. Dragons were believed to be extinct, and so proved powerful tools for gathering support. She eventually came to rule the city of Meereen in Slaver's Bay, conquering the entire region and freeing the slaves. Back in Westeros, rumors of the Mother of Dragons spread throughout the continent, but warring factions were far too preoccupied with their own civil war to worry about what was happening across the sea or even beyond the wall. The conflict proved so devastating that by the end of 303 AL, all 5 claimants for the throne were dead, along with many other prominent figures, leaving several new rulers to continue the war of their predecessors. Although the Lannisters had initial success in the conflict, the death of Tywin Lannister saw their fortunes quickly turn. Young King Tommen proved a weak ruler, easily manipulated by the religious Sparrow movement, resulting in the arrest of his mother, wife, and brother-in-law. After suffering the humiliation of being a prisoner and walking naked in the streets like a criminal, Cersei and her advisor Qyburn made a plan to ignite barrels of wildfire discovered under the city during the trial of Loras Tyrell, with the city leadership, faith officials, and royal court in attendance. The plan succeeded, and the Sept of Baelor was ignited into a fiery green explosion, killing many, including the High Sparrow, Lancel Lannister, Mace Tyrell, Loras Tyrell, Queen Marjorie Tyrell, and the Hand of the King, Kevan Lannister. King Tommen, who was kept in the Red Keep under Cersei's protection, did not die in the blast, instead forced to watch as his wife, advisors, and allies were all murdered by his mother. Tommen, overwhelmed by the devastation, removed his crown and threw himself from a window. With all her rivals gone, her children dead, and the throne vacant, Cersei took the crown for herself, proclaimed Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. The Lannisters were now in a difficult position, with Jaime having retaken the weakened Riverlands, while Cersei lost their powerful allies in the Reach. This meant that the Westerland forces would be their primary army as they defended from enemies all around them. After the death of King Robb, House Stark was all but destroyed. However, the faction found new life in the daughter of Eddard Stark, Sansa, and his bastard son, Jon Snow. Jon originally joined the Night's Watch, and after proving himself a worthy leader, was elected as Lord Commander. Jon then focused his attention on establishing an alliance between the remaining wildlings and the Night's Watch, while also balancing the political situation at the Wall. He was betrayed, however, by Sir Alliser Thorne and a group of conspirators who believed his alliance with the wildlings a violation of their oaths. Although they stabbed Jon several times, leaving him dead in the Castle Black courtyard, he was revived in a magical ceremony by the Red Priestess, Melisandre. Jon, back from the dead, found support from the Free Folk, hanging the traitors who'd turned against him. He then quit his position as Lord Commander and led a wildling army south, alongside his half-sister Sansa Stark, who'd escaped from King's Landing and was married off to Ramsay Bolton by Peter Baelish, only to escape yet again from the torture and cruelty of her new husband. Jon and Sansa traveled around the north, gathering what little support they could and prepared to advance against the Lannister-allied Boltons at Winterfell. Badly outnumbered and pulled out of proper position, the battle was all but lost until the Knights of the Vale rode in to destroy the Bolton lines, allowing Jon Snow to lead a final charge against the castle, restoring House Stark to Winterfell. Sansa, who'd secretly arranged for reinforcements from Peter Baelish without telling her brother Jon Snow, then took revenge against the man who'd abused her so viciously, unleashing his own hounds against him and watching as Ramsay died screaming. After the battle, Davos Seaworth, friend and advisor to the deceased King Stannis, confronted Melisandre, having learned that she burned the Princess Shireen alive, and so Jon banished her as punishment, promising to hang her if she ever returned to the north. Melisandre then journeyed south, possibly seeking out her contacts in the Riverlands, or else perhaps may travel to Dragonstone to meet Daenerys Targaryen and bring her into the faith of R'hllor. Peter Baelish, meanwhile, continued to plant ideas into Sansa's head, revealing that he desired to sit on the Iron Throne with Sansa as queen by his side. Attempting to distance her from Jon, he implied that he was a threat to her power, and that Sansa's status as a legitimate child of House Stark should supersede the claim of a bastard son, thereby planting a seed of jealousy when their bannerman proclaimed Jon Snow as king in the north. Jon and Sansa are then left to consolidate their power and raise their banners both to face enemies in the south, as well as the approaching White Walkers to the north. After throwing King Balon of the Iron Islands from a bridge, Euron Greyjoy made his case at the Kingsmoot and was elected as their new ruler. He then proclaimed that they must construct 1,000 ships and attempt to make a marriage alliance with Queen Daenerys, Mother of Dragons. Meanwhile, Balon's children, Yara and Theon, escaped from the islands with many of their supporters and made their way to Slaver's Bay, pledging themselves to Daenerys before Euron had a chance. Although she remained Queen of Meereen, Daenerys also recruited the Dothraki to her cause when they witnessed her survive a fiery inferno that killed all the Khals. The Queen then led her new army back to Meereen, finding the city under siege. After a demonstration of the power of her dragons, the invading army surrendered and Daenerys took control of their ships, further bolstered by 100 Iron Island ships offered by Yara and Theon Greyjoy. Daario Naharis was then left in charge of Meereen as Daenerys and her army set sail for Westeros. Along the way, they are met by Varys the Spider, who had gone to Dorne and the Reach, forging an alliance with Ellaria Sand and Olenna Tyrell. The factions of House Martell, Tyrell, Targaryen, and part of House Greyjoy then joined together, sailing their fleet towards the Seven Kingdoms. This powerful new alliance was formed to follow the Mother of Dragons, Daenerys Targaryen, who may choose to lead her fleet to Dragonstone, the place of her birth and original home of House Targaryen, before their invasion of Westeros 300 years earlier. After the fall of House Stark and the burning of Winterfell, Bran escaped to the north with several faithful companions, carried by Hodor to seek the three-eyed raven beyond the wall, a mysterious figure which appeared in his dreams. In a cave protected by magic, Bran trained under a 1,000-year-old Greenseer who lived with the last of the Children of the Forest, an ancient race that once inhabited the continent. With this power, Bran was able to see into the past, but unfortunately made the mistake of experimenting with weirwood magic on his own, and as a result was confronted by the Night King, who marked Bran, allowing the White Walkers to attack the cave. The onslaught led to the deaths of the Three-Eyed Raven, the Children of the Forest, the Direwolf Summer, and Hodor, all dying so that Bran might escape alive. Bran and Mira then encountered a mysterious rider revealed to be Benjen Stark, who escorted them to a weirwood tree near the wall before disappearing once more into the forest. Bran used his abilities, once again seeing into the past, where he learned that his aunt Lyanna gave birth to a child fathered by Rhaegar Targaryen, which may in fact be his supposed half-brother Jon Snow. The significance of another Targaryen child in Westeros has the potential for drastic repercussions should the truth ever be learned. For if Jon Snow is the child of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen, an argument can be made for his claim to the Iron Throne. Although he would still be a bastard, this might be overlooked by those in need of an alternative to the Dragon Queen across the sea. However, if Rhaegar and Lyanna were married beforehand, Jon may in fact have a stronger claim to the Iron Throne than Daenerys Targaryen, who would be his aunt, a younger sister of his father Rhaegar. Although Rhaegar was already married to Elia Martell of Dorne, there is precedent in Targaryen history for a man to have multiple wives, like King Maegor the Cruel, who had up to 6 wives at one time. In The Reach, Samwell Tarly, sent to become a maester for the Night's Watch by Jon Snow, stopped by his family home of Horn Hill, presenting Gilly and Little Sam as if the child was his own, in the hopes his father would allow them to stay. The plan succeeded, but Sam proved unwilling to leave his new family with his horrible father, and so stole Heartsbane, the Valyrian steel sword of House Tarly, and together they all left for the citadel of Old Town, where Sam began his training as a maester. After seeing his friends butchered by outlaws, the Hound tracked down the brigands and took his revenge. He then encountered the Brotherhood without banners, and with nowhere else to turn, considered staying with them for a time. The Brotherhood, meanwhile, led by Beric Dondarrion and the Red Priest Thoros of Myr, continued in their mission of protecting the small folk of the Riverlands, while awaiting the larger war they believed was fast approaching. After leaving Westeros, Arya trained in the House of Black and White to become a faceless assassin. However, she was unwilling to discard her former life and complete the missions as ordered. After a confrontation with a rival assassin, she demanded her freedom from the organization, and her trainer nodded his agreement, allowing her to leave Braavos. Now free of temple restrictions and trained as a faceless assassin, Arya used her skills to infiltrate House Frey, killing Lord Walder Frey's sons and using the meat from their bodies to cook a pie. She then served it to Lord Walder before slitting his throat and watching the man who betrayed her family at the Red Wedding bleed out and die. With her siblings establishing themselves in the north, Arya may wish to seek them out, or else may continue to track down those on her enemies list, with only 2 names remaining: Cersei Lannister, who played a role in the execution of her father, and the Mountain Gregor Clegane for leading the brutal torture at Harrenhal.
A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx,
like Knight of the X, Samey the Fair Butehyke, Honir the Dead Raven, and Septon Woodford of the Riverlands. If you'd like to help the channel with a monthly donation, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to see more.